Welcome to Breakdown, a podcast all about Gravity Forms and WordPress. And I'm your host, Matt, and I talk to folks in and around the Gravity Forms and WordPress space and how they use Gravity Forms and WordPress to get the job done. What goes into a Gravity Forms and WordPress project? How do they run their agency, their freelance, or if they're building some kind of unique project with WordPress and Gravity Forms, we want to talk to them. I want to interview them, and I want to learn more about how they use our favorite open source software. If you're looking for previous episodes of Breakdown, head on over to gravityforms.com/breakdown. You can also subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get your podcast by searching for Breakdown Gravity Forms. Follow us, subscribe to us, share us with others. Let's get into the show. Casey, welcome back to Breakdown.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here. It's
unheard of around here.
Yeah, it's much deserved.
He's the boss, yada, yada, yada. I mean, who cares, right? Yeah, we're talking about Zach Katz of GravityView and GravityKit. Today we're talking about GravityKit 3.0 was released, and Casey's going to walk us down the path of some of that stuff today. Maybe some other stuff that you guys have been working on, more importantly. But how has the rollout been of 3.0? What's new? What's your favorite feature set of GravityKit 3.0?
Yeah, well, it's pretty exciting. So it's GravityView 3.0. GravityView is our flagship plugin. Essentially, it's an app builder on top of Gravity Forms. You can leverage your Gravity Forms data and display it on the front end, and then you get a whole host of tools for creating nice displays, searching, filtering, exporting, all of that kind of stuff. So GravityView 3.0, really, it is two things. It is an under-the-hood refactor, which kind of optimizes a lot of the code and improves performance and kind of lays the foundation for some future things that we're working on as well, and just gives us a better foundation to build on, which is great. But then we also have a whole host of new features, much requested features that we're really excited to bring out. So I'll go through a couple of the headliners. We have a new theme framework in GravityView. So now we've shipped one theme with 3.0, which is called Vantage. You can go in, you can toggle it on, and it'll give your views a really nice modern look right out of the box. It also has an inbuilt grid, so you can create grid layouts with it as well that look really great. No CSS required. We've then got integration.
I just want to just jump in real quick. When you say theme, this is a theme for the view itself. We're not talking about a WordPress theme. We're talking about sort of a theme style for how your content displays inside of your existing theme.
Yes, exactly. Thanks for clearing that up, because themes obviously is a it's and that's a big in WordPress.
Yeah, and that's a big it's a big hurdle, right? Because a lot of times when folks are just using core Gravity Forms and just putting forms on some kind of theme, whichever theme they're using, God knows, some people have pulled themes from behind the couch that they bought from Theme Forest 17 years ago. And it's like, it doesn't look, the form doesn't look good. And it's this week, well, look, the theme is, messing with the HTML and the CSS and the layout. The theme's not coded the WordPress way. So I can understand why that move in that direction is a huge benefit to you guys for displaying all that data that people use View for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, people just want something that looks good. And we don't want them to have to mess around with CSS and things like that to get it to look good. So this is the direction we decided to take. And of course, you don't have to enable it. It's off by default. But you can use it if you want to. Yeah. And so, another thing we're excited about is we now have native modules for Divi, Beaver Builder, and Elementor, which are the most popular page builders that our customers are using. So instead of embedding a view being before it was okay, if you wanted to embed this view in an Elementor, you had to use a shortcode and paste it into an Elementor widget. Now we have a native widget that you can use to do that. You get a nice live preview in the Elementor editor. You can configure the view right in there. So everything stays in the builder that you're actually using already, which is really nice. And then we have front-end bulk actions as well. So this is a new widget in GravityView. You can add to your view on the front end, and you can configure it so you can enable the different actions that you want your users to be able to take. And it has support for things like bulk approving entries, bulk editing entries, bulk deleting, bulk export, as well as resending notifications and downloading attachments in bulk. So for example, if you have a form with a file upload field and people have uploaded files along with their entries, you can now download those in bulk from your view on the front end, which is quite nice.
I imagine the front end stuff, this is something that I've been pursuing in WordPress for, I don't know, 15 years, is like, how can you leverage WordPress as, well, I think you kind of said it with the hook of what GravityKit is all about. I think you said something like app builder, which is, or GravityView is an app builder. And that's something I've been pursuing. You know, how can we best frame WordPress as this foundation to build? You know, some people, when they hear apps, they go way far ahead. They're like, well, it's not an iOS app. It's not an Android app. Well, we're not talking about that. And sometimes people go, well, it's not this, you know, super complex SaaS app. Well, it doesn't have to be that either. It can have like this application functionality that isn't so, I guess, highbrow to like a lot of how engineers think about it. And this is really cool that you're enhancing the front end capabilities. I'd say it's probably even more important these days with AI to make that process as fast and easy as possible. Just like with themes, people are going, I just want this thing to look good. Now, when they start just inching into that territory of app building, they're going to say, just give me all the functionality of like front end editing. And it's just like, okay, how do we balance this? And I'm sure that's a interesting twist these days with AI. It's a sort of yin and yang, because, and I know this is a long tangent, but this is something that's always on my mind, is I think with AI, you're going to have this whole swath of people who are like, I'm just going to build it with AI. And then they go hours and hours and they're trying to get it right and they're trying to push it into WordPress. And then they're like, I can't do it in WordPress, so let me go do it over on this static thing. Then they can't do it on the static thing. And then if they just came and bought GravityView, they'd be done, you know, in like 10 minutes, right? And they spend all that time trying to do it themselves when they could have just bought GravityView. So I think we have this interesting thing that'll happen where people will go, do I build this or do I buy this? And it's because of AI, they've realized the value of just, I'm just going to go buy this. Like, even I don't want to wait anymore for the agent to finish the job. I know what I want. Let me just go buy it. And I think that's an interesting thing that we're headed into.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can build with AI, but you have to build on a solid foundation.
Yeah.
And so, talking about AI, another new thing in GravityView is our AI connector. So this ties in exactly to what you were saying, Matt. We have a GravityKit MCP server. It's completely free. Anybody can use it. And it already has full support for Gravity Forms. So you can create forms and you can create entries and create feeds and things like that in Gravity Forms. But now with GravityView 3.0, it has full support for view creation as well. So essentially, you can have, you know, a full app up and running, form, entries, view, just with a single prompt now, and you can have your AI build it for you. And this is leveraging the WordPress Abilities API, which was released in version 6.9. We're really excited about it. And again, like, if you want to build with AI, you can absolutely do that. But you're building on something that is proven and tested and already has a lot of functionality out of the box. So we're excited to offer that to people who want to go that route.
Yeah. How was the, not to put you in the hot seat, but how was the testing of all of that stuff? Like, you're telling the AI to do one thing, and then how is the output? How are the guardrails for the MCP, especially for the view side of things? Did you run into, if you know, did you run into any use cases, edge cases with customers that were doing things you're like, oh god, we never thought about that, or customers were really pushing it to the max? Any stories like that you could tell?
Not yet. It's still pretty new.
Okay.
We haven't run into anything like that. We obviously ran into a lot of things while we were testing it internally, and we kind of ironed out a lot of the issues before releasing it. But yeah, as I say, it's still quite new. I think, I don't know what you think about this, Matt, but I think there's still a minority of users who are using MCPs for WordPress and building that way. So I'm sure things will start to ramp up as people get more comfortable with AI, and we'll start to see kind of some of the cool stuff that people start doing. But we use it a ton internally. Like I write tutorial posts and documentation and stuff like that. And I often need to set up demos or test certain functionality. And I can just have Claude set that stuff up in the background while I'm working on other things. And when I need it, it's right there and everything's working. So it saves me a lot of time, like almost every day, which is really cool.
Literally how I use MCP for WordPress 99% of the time, especially, obviously creating content and creating dummy data and stuff like that, or placeholding data. It's how I use it. I was just like, hey, make 50 posts about pizzas and go nuts, and just like do that, please, and make these images, and it does make life interesting. Yeah, the MCP adoption, even for me, sometimes it's just like, okay, I got to set up the config file, and sure, you could just throw it to. I primarily use Claude Code in the terminal, but I even find just setting it up sometimes it's just annoying, just to get it to work. But I think once WordPress sort of matures, like the core MCP stuff, like it'll probably be easier from like that domain level. We'll almost have like, I hope, maybe have like a, I don't know, air quotes, sign on to our own domain, like one-click sign on to our own domain to connect it. That would be really cool. I was talking at a contractor working at my house yesterday, and he was asking how he found me. And I still use websites, right? I still research websites. I still look at people's websites. I look at the work that they do. And he was talking about how he gets most of his traffic because, fun fact, this is another tangent, but relevant. He uses Gravity Forms. And when I submitted his Gravity Form I didn't like inspect the code. I didn't know it was Gravity Forms until I contacted. And when I sent it through, it said through the default error message that this form cannot send email. So I was like, this is Gravity Forms, whoever built this site, which, by the way, was somebody I used to compete with when I ran my agency, right? Because this is local guy. So when he came to the house, anyway, this is a long story short, I contacted him through his phone, used the phone, and ended up hiring him. And he was here yesterday, and I was like, hey, did you get that site fixed? And he's like, no. He's like, I never even look at my site because I get so much word of mouth traffic and so much Google ad and Facebook traffic that the website is like fourth or fifth on the lead list. So I found that interesting. But what he said, he's like, I'm trying to shut off, and he's just a average business owner. He's like, I'm trying to shut off all of the AI stuff that Google does with like Google. I guess I don't even know they do it like with his Google business listings. Facebook turns on AI by default so that when you send them a message, it responds to them in some kind of like AI fashion. He's like, the thing I'm trying to do now is shut off all of this AI that is responding to my customers because it's all wrong. It's all wrong. So yeah, the point of me telling you that story is I think you and I and probably folks listening to this, we're still obviously the early adopters for this kind of thing. And I know there's a lot of people who are fearful for like, oh, our customers are going to go and do our AI, go do their website with AI. And I just talked to your average business owner and he needs help, but it's not just about the website anymore. It's about the broader picture. So I think that's a takeaway for freelancers and consultants that are out there.
Yeah, absolutely. AI is definitely disrupting a lot of stuff. And there seems to be a lot of people who are really getting far ahead with AI and using it to its maximum capabilities. And then there are other people who are still very skeptical and still having issues with it. So it's in this interesting transitional phase. But I
Yeah,
want to go
for
back
sure.
just to something you mentioned at the beginning was, getting MCPs set up. There can be this technical hurdle where you need to like edit a config file and stuff like that. And a lot of users aren't comfortable with that sort of stuff. So I think once it does become easier to set up, you will see more people using it. And this is something we've put a lot of thought into as well, because we have another MCP that we offer called the Block MCP for editing WordPress content. And we realized it was just too confusing for people to set it up. So we created it as a WordPress plugin, where essentially you just install it on your website, and then you choose how you want it configured, and you click a button, and then it's done. There's no editing config files or like pulling from a GitHub repo or anything like that. So I'm really like proud that we have something like that, and I hope that a lot more of these MCPs will go that route, where all the kind of configuration just happens in the background, and the user just has a nice screen that they can look at to see, what capabilities that they've granted the AI and things like that.
Is that available
yeah.
on the GravityKit website? Where can we find that so we can add it to the show notes, or the listener or viewer can just go download it?
Yeah, so it's on the GravityKit site. If you go to gravitykit.com/products, it's under free products. It's one of the free plugins that we offer. You can
cool.
just install it on your site. There's you go to settings, block MCP, and then you can configure it there. It's just a one-click configuration.
Yeah, I see it right there. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's something I'm going to have to give. Actually, I already told you I was going to give it a shot, but now I'm seeing it again. I'm like, oh yes, I need to give this a shot, because I've been dying to try it out.
It's really good.
Yeah,
and I'm not just saying that because we built it.
That's awesome. Anything else on the new GravityView 3.0 launch?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more that's new on GravityView 3.0. What I mentioned are kind of the headline features.
Sure.
But we do have a lot of other smaller things that we've added. We've got better date range search now. We've got something where if you change the layout of your view, let's say you change it from a table to like a list layout or something like that, what used to happen is that all the configuration that you had done, adding fields and everything, would reset. You'd have to do it again. That doesn't happen anymore. That data stays there and just moves over to the new layout, which I think is really nice. We've also added view revision history, so you can roll back to like a previous version of your view if you made a mistake or something like that. And a bunch of other small kind of quality of life improvements that we're really happy about.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll just encourage anybody who is using GravityView, make sure you update to the latest, and you'll get access to those new features. And if you have any questions, you can always ask us. If you want to see what's new before you update, you can just go to gravitykit.com /GravityView-3-0, and that is the hub page for everything GravityView 3.0. You'll see little MP4 videos there showing you the kind of different features. We have links to our documentation there as well. So everything you need to know is there.
And this is a new redesign, I think, from the last time you and I chatted. Even I don't think I've had Zach on since. It's a new looking site, right? It looks great.
Yes,
you can find everything nice and readable. Looks good. I love all the nice large feature blocks, so I can understand what it is that GravityView does, or like any of the sub products does. It's a really good looking site. Good job.
Yeah, it's much better than it was, and we're having a lot of fun kind of building it out. And that's one of the things the Block MCP has been helping with, actually. Setting up these landing pages.
That's a great way of dogfooding your own product. That's really cool. Before we hit record, you said we had some other stuff that you wanted to cover, and for the audio listeners, for the podcast listeners, head on over to our YouTube channel. At the end of this video, Casey's going to show us, or at the end of this episode, Casey's going to show us a few things visually, which you can do through the power of YouTube. You can go to our YouTube channel, which will be linked up in the show notes. Gravity Forms Podcast. If you just search for that, you'll find that on YouTube. And he's going to show off some of the stuff. But you also said you wanted to talk about a search product. What do we have with search?
Yeah. So recently we released a new add-on called Gravity Search, and this has been something that we've wanted to do for a while, so we're quite excited about it. And it allows you to essentially search entries across all of your forms in the admin, and then it also adds some advanced search capabilities. So you can it actually has like a little query builder. So once you install the plugin, it adds a new page under Gravity Forms called Global Search. You can go there, you can see all of the entries under all of your forms, and you can search by date. You can do keyword search, and then you can do an advanced search where you can kind of build your own search query. You can have like multiple conditions and things like that, get very granular, and then you can run those searches across all your forms. And then what happens is the URL actually updates dynamically when you do a search. So you can bookmark those URLs to return back to those searches or to share that data with somebody else on your team, which is quite nice. And then we also have the advanced search built into the regular Gravity Forms entries page for all your different forms. So you can run those advanced searches within a specific form if you want to as well.
That's fantastic. As you were explaining it, I was thinking of the nonprofit site that I manage, and we do a golf tournament, we do a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and those are once every year. And we're going into our 4th year, and now it's becoming okay, this was fun when we first started, like managing all of this stuff. But now it's like, okay, we're going into year 3 and 4. We have like all these donors and all these other people who like want to come back every year. So that's great. So now it's like compiling all of this information, all of this data, and like searching across like who are all the sponsors that we've had for the last, 3 years and stuff like that. And then you're like, oh man, do I send this all to a Google Sheets? Do I send this to, do I MCP search it? But I'm on a nonprofit board. These folks aren't using MCP. Like, there's no way. I'm like, say, hey, connect up to your Claude account. So like stuff like this is really good for sure. Especially you have those long historical lead gen forms or very business critical forms where you're trying to search for stuff. I mean, this is great.
Yeah, exactly. Once your site moves past more than like 4 or 5 forms and you're collecting a sizable number of entries, it really helps to have an interface where you can search across everything and do queries that allow you to kind of dive more granular into your data and then be able to share those results and save those searches for the future. I think it's really beneficial. And if anybody's interested, you can head on over to our website and check that out. We have a live demo as well, so you can demo the product before you decide to purchase.
I'm on the Gravity Search page right now. Buy now, try a demo, have questions. Would you consider this something like a... Zach's going to kill me when he hears this, but is this like an inverse GravityView to a degree where you can kind of build a save search? And maybe you don't need all the front end stuff, right? Like you don't need it to be on the front end of the website. You don't need design and theme and other like filtering functionalities. You just want to say, hey, this is a saved search akin to a view, like search for all leads in the last 90 days. And then you can just save that. You can just share that with people who actually have access to the WordPress site. Is that how, that's theoretically what you could do? Or am I totally off base?
Well, so right now you can share those searches, but only via a URL. So you can't actually like save a separate screen in the admin, for example. We may look at adding something like that in the future, but right now it's just the URL that updates, and then you can just grab that URL, and it'll always take you back to the global search page that's been. Gotcha. It has that search preset already.
Gotcha. Yeah, still helpful. I mean, especially if you're the webmaster of the website and you're always like pruning data or coming in to check on things. I'm gonna have to give that a shot. Gravity Search, you can find it at gravitykit.com. We're going to jump into a short little demo, Casey. Again, for those of you in the audio side, this is where this episode will end. You can find everything that we talked about at GravityKit.com. GravityView 3.0 is here. I realize I said GravityKit 3.0 is here when I kicked off the show. It's GravityView 3.0. Why not GravityKit 3.0? Yeah, let's just call it that. You can check out everything there. You go to GravityKit.com. There's a big banner. It says Explore GravityView 3.0. You can click that and explore some more. We talked about view. We talked about search. GravityKit.com. Casey, anywhere else you want them to go before we go into the demo?
No, that's about it. But as always, if you have questions, you can always email us. My email is casey@gravitykit.com. Happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Fantastic stuff. Everybody, you're listening to Breakdown. You can find Breakdown wherever you get your podcast by searching Breakdown Gravity Forms. We haven't broken through the single keyword SEO yet. So Breakdown Gravity Forms, you'll find us wherever you're listening. Follow us there and share it with your friends who use Gravity Forms or WordPress. That's it for Breakdown, your favorite podcast for Gravity Forms and WordPress. Don't forget to tell others about Breakdown. Let them know that if they use Gravity Forms and WordPress, this is a must-listen show. They can find it at gravityforms.com/breakdown or search for Breakdown Gravity Forms wherever they get their podcasts. We'll see you in the next episode.